Who's ready for art? I am. All right, guys, we're going to finish our chameleon today, and we're going to make it look awesome with some paint. Whew. I'm going to be using a watercolor tray today. And if you have a watercolor tray, you could use that, and this is going to look really cool because I'm going to show you a new technique with that. If you don't have a watercolor tray, you might remember a few lessons ago we talked about how you can use markers and aluminum foil to make your own water paints by coloring on the foil, taking a brush, dipping it in water, and rubbing it to make your own paints. So you could use markers to create your own watercolor paint, just like we did on our city pictures, on our landscapes. Or if you don't have watercolor and you don't have markers and aluminum foil and a paintbrush and you want to just color it with crayons or something, that's fine too. I'm going to let you kind of pick how you do it. But I'm going to show a really cool way to use watercolors to make this look amazing. So I'm going to take just a moment to paint in most of my picture with watercolors. I'm going to paint my sky, my grass, and my leaves. I'm not painting my lizard yet, so wait for just a minute before you paint your lizard. When you paint your leaves, think about all the pretty fall colors around you and try to make all your leaves different colors. Okay, especially these two, make them different colors. All right, so watch me for a minute while I paint my picture. Okay, I painted my grass, my sky, and my leaves, and you can see I did lots of different fall leaf colors. Now, to paint our lizard, our chameleon, I want it to look like our chameleon is starting to change colors. So I'm going to pick one color for his body, and I'm going to make that color changing to the colors he's touching. So his two legs are going to be orange. His two back legs are going to be yellow, and it's going to blend into the color that his body is. So it looks like he's changing colors. Now you might use different colors than me, and that's okay, but I want his front legs to be whatever color his front leaf is, and his back legs to be whatever color his back leaf is. So let's start with that. I'm going to paint these two legs yellow since he's stepping on yellow. And I'm going to paint these two legs orange since he's stepping on orange. Okay? Now, here comes the cool part. I'm going to teach you a kind of art that is called wet on wet painting. Okay? This is where you clean out your brush, okay? And you want to get your paper wet because we want these colors to swirl together. So I'm making the paper wet, and then I'm painting wet paint on the wet paper. That's why it's called wet on wet. So I'm going to take my brush, and I'm just going to paint water all over the bottom of this lizard. And you can see it's kind of blending a little with my marker. My marker has come up a little bit. I used washable markers, I probably shouldn't have, but that's okay. So I'm painting water all across the bottom here, okay? Now I'm going to get my orange. And if you look, if I touch my orange here, where the paper's wet, you can see how it kind of looks a little blendy, like it's fading in a little bit. So I'm going to put a little orange down there. Then I'm going to get my yellow, and I'm going to put a little yellow down here on that wet paper, okay? And I can clean my brush out, and I can kind of blend them together and see how it's starting to blob together. Now I'm going to pick a color for the top of my body. And I might pick a color I haven't used yet, or used a lot. Maybe I want my lizard to be kind of reddish. So I'm going to paint the top of my lizard red. Just the top, okay, of my chameleon with the red. his tail as well. I'll get some more of that nice red. And I'm not going to get close to that orange and yellow yet. I'll do that in a second. And I'll paint his head. This is going to be so cool. You know, I should paint his eye red as well, because technically their eye is covered in skin and that little hole is there. I might pick a slightly different color just so it looks a little brighter. I'll do like that. That'll be cool. Okay, now here's the fun part. I'm going to get some more yellow, put it down here. I'll get some more orange, put it right here. And I'm going to take my brush with just water, and I want to kind of swirl this in a little bit so that those colors get all swirled in. So if you look, my yellow is coming up into my red, and my orange is coming up into my red, and it looks like he's starting to change colors. It's so amazing. Let me see if I can get this so the light's not shining on it so you can kind of see what I mean. See how the paint's starting to kind of bleed together and look really cool, so it looks like the lizard's actually changing color. Now, you probably saw my paint bled a little bit here. I can get a brush and kind of get up some of that. I'm going to clean up my brush and get most of the water out of it. And then you can kind of clean up places that you don't want it to drip. But if it's a place you want to kind of blend together, we can kind of leave it. All right. Maybe I'll even put a little more color change. Maybe he's got the tip of his tail is blue, and I'll let that blend into my red a little bit. Ooh, that looks so cool. Maybe I'll get a little purple for the tip of his nose and let that kind of blend over. Oh, I love him. So you can see it just really wants to bleed there, doesn't it? I put too much water on my paper right here, but I can just scoop some of that up. You can see I've got a really fun, colorful lizard just by blending some of my colors together. All right, guys, I hope you had fun drawing this. I can't wait to see how your chameleons come out and how your colors blended. If you used crayons, you can kind of color one part, one color, and another, and kind of smoothly get them together. That works too. But if you did use paint, I want you to try that wet on wet technique. It will work with your it'll work with both your marker paints or watercolor paints if you have them. All right, guys. I hope you had fun. I can't wait to see yours. Post it on Seesaw so I can see what an excellent job you did. And until then, stay colorful.